and white trash talking.
Hi, I'm Doug Johnson, and this is White Trash Talking. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as this helps boost the podcast. If you're like me, you're growing weary trying to keep up with the daily news about the war against Iran and about Trump's derangement and his inability to govern. Every day it's something new. Another post by Trump on Truth Social, another bombing, another attack, and then the competing narratives about what actually happened. What is the truth in this fog of war, and how can we know the truth if we're not there? My approach is to focus on the big picture and to remain skeptical about whatever Trump or his administration say regarding anything they do. I rely on a whole slew of alternative media sources and try to understand day-to-day developments from a wider perspective. One of my sources is Patrick Henningsen, a journalist from 21st Century Wire, who recently appeared on Danny Haifang's podcast to discuss recent developments in the Middle East. His analysis cuts through a lot of the daily vicissitudes regarding the negotiations, the MOU, the ceasefires, and such to identify the true motives behind the U.S.'s political strategy.
What I'm seeing is a continuum, and the United States is not pulling back. The United States has ongoing operations right through the rest of the year. So whatever they've got on the go, it's going to be continued until it's not, until an order has been given by the president to stop operations, and I don't see that happening. So the U.S. operations are clearly to attack and to disable Iran's ability to physically manage the Straits of Hormuz. That means attacking infrastructure. That means attacking military facilities, radar, port facilities, naval resources, anything, infrastructure, anything along the South Coast, in and around the Strait of Hormuz. And the U.S. has a window to do this that is not confined to this week or last week or during the MOU phase. It's going to extend right through the midterm elections, right till the end of the year, and then probably into the new year. And if we look at it this way, then we won't be distracted by all of the games and propaganda and disinformation that's being thrown out by this White House. So the U.S. has to basically, they need time to rearm and reload, and that's a constant process that's going to take us right through. The opportune moment for a grandstand before the midterm elections to get a W, or at least a short-term media W, would probably be somewhere between the 1st of September and the 1st of October. So in terms of some kind of symbolic ground beachhead storming the beaches of Carg Island or whatever it is, it's going to be temporary. And it has to coincide in the run-up to the midterms so that Donald Trump can declare victory. That's the plan. So the MOU, for all intents and purposes, was just a ruse. It was a ruse, and the U.S. never had any intention of abiding by any of the obligations within the MOU. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio all actively sabotaged the MOU. Literally, each of them were assigned to break or sabotage one point of the MOU. Marco Rubio took out clause number 1. And Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump took out clauses 4 and 5, sabotaged those. And J.D. Vance sabotaged clause 10, which was reparations. And he did that by announcing that Iranian frozen assets would be handed to U.S. soya farmers. Yeah. So if we look at it that way, then all these pauses are just laying in wait for the next cycle. This is designed to roll over and just to keep going. It's like a lung. It will inhale and exhale in terms of cycles of escalation. And the United States has now adopted Israeli tactics, which means they're not serious about any negotiations or deals. It's always, and then they'll end up going to maximalist demands, then they'll walk away, then they'll blame the other side. This is what Israel's been doing for 50 years. So this is what the U.S. is doing under the Trump administration. So that's established.
Understanding the U.S.'s motives behind their smokescreen of distraction and chaos helps to make sense of the actions that are otherwise inexplicable. The burning question for me has been, why doesn't Trump just cut his losses and end the war? It's not going well. The problem with our common sense logic like this is that it fails to consider evil logic. It's now clear that the U.S. is killing thousands of innocent civilians in Iran and creating an oil shortage that guarantees a world economic depression simply to stage a victory before the November elections. It's amazing. But what about U.S. plans for an actual long-term military victory? Are there any viable options left for the U.S.? Recently, Ukraine attacked Iranian vessels in the Caspian Sea, killing one Iranian sailor. Ukraine initially called this an accident, but was it? Could it be part of a wider strategy? Patrick Henningsen addresses this question and summarizes the U.S.'s overall war tactics.
The U.S. believes, the Pentagon believes, that they can inflict death by 1,000 cuts to Iran between now and the midterm elections, or now and the new year. And then they can just systematically degrade all of the Iranian facilities and infrastructure along the south, in and around the Strait of Hormuz, and that they're absolutely fine in Washington in waiting to do this over the next 6 months or 12 months. And they could at any point punctuate that with a massive assault or even a temporary symbolic ground assault. They've dragged European countries and the UK specifically into this. Andy Burnham comes in, the new Labour leader, unelected. His first act as prime minister was to greenlight the U.S. use of a B-1 and B-2 bomber runs against Iran from RAF bases in the UK, which means Britain is in. They needed to get the United Kingdom locked in. Yeah. And the question is why? And of course, we know the answer. Part of the answer came via Zelensky striking Iranian ships in the Caspian Sea. And that would be absolutely Britain and the United States behind that operation, 110%. Yeah. Definitely got the green light from NATO. The implications of that are severe. So the war doesn't look like it's going to de-escalate. In fact, it looks like it's going to escalate. And so the U.S., by attacking Iranian ships, the U.S. or Britain, using Ukraine as a proxy, what they're doing is enforcing a wider blockade. It means that the Caspian Sea is now a front in terms of supplying Iran and trade and, just normal goods, food stuff, resources. That's now a potential enforceable blockade. You have an aggressive Azerbaijan on the border there. Is Ukraine going to be used as a proxy against Iran? They have a strategy. People need to see the big picture and stop, getting too caught up in Trump's, crazy memes, AI images, tweets, because a lot of this is just theater. Right. To really kind of cover and keep the press at bay and keep people distracted from what they're really doing, which is a kind of the really sunken cost into a long-term conflict that they're probably not going to be able to win, but it's funded. So they're going to continue this game. I'm telling you right now, it's just going to be lies upon lies and deceit upon deceit to keep this thing going, this gaudy roadshow of a war.
Why? Why is the U.S. attacking Iran? Iran was not a threat. We know that for Israel to dominate the region, Iran must be destroyed. That's the logic of this. But how is that a good thing for the region or the world? And how does that help us? This agenda by the U.S. elite is not our agenda. Their war against our brothers and sisters in Iran is a war against the entire world. We, the people of the world, are in this together. Thankfully, the U.S. military is not doing well against Iran, and the American empire is being dismantled base by base in the Middle East. I don't want anyone to die, but the U.S. must lose this war if the world is to survive. The U.S.'s ability to wage war must be curtailed. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. Bye.